Welcome back to the channel, fellow journeymen and apprentices. Tonight we are putting this half hog on the reverse flow stainless smoker, and we're doing this on behalf of a party we're having for friends. You're going to want to stay tuned. We're really hoping for a success on this cook. All right, we're getting our mind right for this pit and to put this pig on, so we're having this little IPA action. Little Founders All Day Haze there. So check it out. I want to go over this real quick. We purchased a 260-pound hog. This is a crossbred Berkshire hog, and this should make for a really nice, sweet-tasting pork. We're not going to do anything real special in the beginning of this cook. When we put this on, we're going to come through here and trim some of this off. I've had this resting in a cooler. We harvested this hog Wednesday night. Tonight's Friday night. Our party's Saturday, which is tomorrow. So we've had a 2-day rest with about 80 pounds of ice packed on this. All together, this is probably about 120 to 130 pound half of a hog here. It's pretty darn heavy. I can tell you that because we picked it up out of the cooler, and I can testify that, yeah, this thing's got some mass to it. This is going on the smoker, like I said, and right now we're starting our coal bed. I have some maple chunks in there, and I'm only using maple chunks because really I had chunks of maple and chunks start easier. I like this little mini fan here. You can see it just kind of gets the airflow running, and I started this with a little handheld torch, and with about a minute or two of just igniting on the wood and this fan, it really gets these fires going really quick. And I'm not using any starting fluids or anything like that, fire starters. So keep that in mind. A little tip for you guys. When you're doing this and you're starting your pit up, you want to have it open up just to create airflow so your fire will breathe and you'll get draft going through. We've got a shelf loaded up with hickory wood down here. We are smoking this entire smoke with hickory and an apple blend. So we're going to go ahead and we're about an hour and a half from getting this pig put on, and we're going to get a nice coal bed with the maple and hickory. After we get us a nice coal bed, I'm going to start putting splits of apple wood on this that were given to me by a local friend here off of a farm. So we're super excited about this cook. We love barbecuing, and we're having a party tomorrow for all of our friends. My wife has a wonderful book club, and the guys, all the husbands, we have our own little club called Scrapbook. And it's just fun. It's kind of our bullshit answer to, or name for drinking beer and, you know, having a good time. So we're excited though to have this party, to be able to harvest this pig and to be able to feed everyone. And that's kind of what my wife always says. I feed the people, and I'm okay with that. It's how we show our love around here. So we'll get back to you in a minute. We're going to show you how we prep this hog up before we put it on. All right, guys, so here we are. We have this pig. We're getting ready to do some trimming on this. There's some diaphragm in here that we want to remove. Some of this excessive fat, we're going to take some of it off. Also, in my opinion, here are some key factors that are going to play a big part of this cook to make sure this thing turns out good, because we do not want to have this turn out bad. We have a meat probe. This is going to be super critical for that thing to be in action and to give us feedback on what's going on with this cook. Kosher salt, paper towel, and obviously some beer. So I just like having a beer when I barbecue. It's all good, right? Right. So anyhow, the reason why I'm just using kosher salt on this, a couple reasons. This is just a good breed of pig, and I don't want to take away from what it is. So we want to taste this. We have some really good sauces that we're going to be have out for this pork, but this should have a nice sweet taste to it. It's going to have hickory and apple blend going on with it. And really the salt's just going to help create a nice crust on this and enhance just the natural flavors of this pork. And that's all we want. We might throw a little dusting of our OG seasoning on this. When we're about, 160 degrees internal on it, then maybe we might throw a little bit of that on it. I just haven't quite decided yet. So we'll cross that path when we get there. Until then, let's go ahead and start cleaning this thing up. We're gonna come in here, start kind of cleaning some of this excessive fat off of here. Now the pork belly's down in here, so we don't want to take much of this off. We're just kind of shaving it up a little bit. It is pretty stiff because I had it in a cooler for 2 days packed with ice, and it was pretty darn cool in that thing. So now you're probably wondering, Journeyman, why are you leaving the skin on this? And for starters, I don't know, you know? I mean, personal experience, I don't have any because I've never done a whole hog. But what I've heard and what I've read is that the skin helps keep the moisture locked in on this pig. So that's really my reasoning behind it. And I'm excited to give all you guys feedback on that once we get the final product on this pig. So you'll want to stay tuned for the end of this video so that I can share with you all that information. Get in here and hook this meat right here. And we're gonna pull all this out. This is just really bad membrane here, the diaphragm. What I'm noticing here is I'm exposing the tenderloin. If you want to come up here and see, underneath all that protection, that's the tenderloin of the pig right there, okay? On the back side of this pig is the loin. So when you get some nice bone-in loin center cut pork chops, they're going this way with those rib bones, right? And the tenderloin here is that nice little eye section that you catch on that. Okay, let's get this baby turned. I'm happy with that end over there. And let's come on in over on this side. Now you can see we burnt the hair off this, right? You kind of see burnt stubble there. We're not eating the skin on this pig, but we are keeping the skin in, like I said, just for moisture reasons. You can see up here, this black burnt hair. We're just gonna come in here. We're just gonna trim this off. All we're gonna do. And you can see this back fat. This is the best part on your pork chop, guys. This section right here is what makes a pork chop. I kid you not, it is phenomenal. And right here's that whole loin. You know, here's your ribs. These are your loin back, baby back ribs right here. And then right through here is your spare ribs. So the spares come down and connect to that breastbone essentially, in the front shoulder. Then here's that flappy skin that your cartilage runs in, and this is all the rib tips down here, right? Rib tips, spare, St. Louis cut, and then this curved section here. You come around to the other side here, I want to show you. This section right here, this nice curved part, that's your baby back rib right there. Baby backs have a nice curve to them, that's it. They cut them about right there. And then they cut them on this side of this bone, peel them out, and then the loin comes out. And that's your baby back. They cut some of this clotted area out right here. Again, that's not going to cook well. It's going to be nasty. Someone gets that in their bite of barbecue, and they're going to think you're a bad pit guy. No one likes a bad pit guy.
Or girl.
Or girl, that's right. Sorry, Miss Journey Lady.
Barbecue bride.
Barbecue bride, yes, yes. I can't give the barbecue bride, my wife, behind the camera. You can't see her because she does all the videoing and she's phenomenal. So she makes all this magic happen here. All right. All right, guys, I almost forgot an important part here. We need to take the silver lining off the inside of these ribs too. So we're gonna go ahead and look how beautiful that peels off. This white spinal fluid right here, this whole vein, you're gonna wanna make sure you get all that out of there. So we're gonna come through, give a little scrape. I about forgot this. And from what I've seen other people do is they say, hey, you gotta get that out of there. Now, I'm not sure what happens if you don't, but Bet your ass I'm not gonna find out. Ta-da! All right. We're gonna give this a quick rinse with the hose. We're gonna blotch it dry, and then we're gonna give this a nice thick dusting of salt. All right, guys. So we have this all trimmed up. We have it patted dry. We trimmed it. We rinsed it. We took out that vein. You can see here, it's nice and clean inside there. There was a lot of white pussy fluid that came out of that spinal cord right there. So now I see why people remove it. I'm not sure, but it looks like it would have bubbled out of there and probably would have been kind of disgusting. So I'm glad that we remembered that. So let's go ahead. We got some kosher salt here, nothing special, right? We're gonna go ahead and give this a nice coating. You can see, you're probably like, man, you are really laying that stuff on, but listen, that's what I see everyone do, so we're going for it. I'm not scared. Another little tidbit of information for you. This is the back portion of the pig. This is the ham. This is the pork shoulder up here, otherwise known as the pork butt. Kind of funny how it's at the front end of the pig and they call it the butt, but that's just what it is. We're gonna let this salt kind of sit on here for a minute. Kind of tack up a little. All right, guys, here we go. I'm gonna attempt to put this on myself. And on we go. Marvelous there, huh? Look at that. It's made to fit this pit perfectly. Okay, check it out. So we are on the pit. Probably gonna push it back just a touch here. So when that lid shuts, beautiful. I can see right there down my side of the line, my lid's gonna shut, and we're gonna be able to clear everything on this pig. So my ham's back here. Believe it or not, reverse flow, the hot air is building up back here. So I want to protect this ham. The shoulder has a lot more tissue in it and a lot more fat. So my theory behind this is it can handle the heat better. Ham's got a big mass of muscular tissue that's less marbled. So we want to keep it back here on the cooler side of the pit. I know you're thinking, Journeyman, you're next to your firebox. That's got to be the hot side. Believe it or not, it's not. Reverse flow set up to bring the heat down, come straight up and blast across the top. So this is where all the heat's collecting. It runs pretty smoothly temperature-wise, but you do get a hot spot down here. Something else I want to point out on this cook that you definitely want to pay attention to if you're doing a whole hog. Whether you're doing a whole hog or any big cooks that has a lot of fat involved in the meat, if you notice, my driveway's pitched this way. So what I did is I took my pit and I ran it that direction so that if I have an extra abundance amount of grease that comes off this pig, first of all, I have drip pans underneath the grates, which are going to collect most of that, if not all of it. But in case the chance that you do not have that luxury, I would not want the pit turned 180 to where the firebox was down here and anything falling off of it, the fat and grease goes back to the fire and ignites your pit and you catch your meat on fire. So I have a drain valve back here. You can't see it because there's wood down there. But the idea is here is if I have an overabundance amount of grease, like I said, it's all going to sit down at this end, the furthest point away from the firebox. Very important. Worst thing that could happen, absolutely worst, is you catch your whole thing on fire. That'd be a bad night. Party's over. No pun intended. So, but anyhow, we're going to cook this pig right around that 200 to 250 degree range. And I'm going to stay up throughout the night. Might set a couple alarms, might get a couple little cat naps in. And we're going to just let this thing go. I have no idea how long this is going to take. And I just realized I forgot something. So I'm going to get that meat probe in tight. All right, I'm back. So I have my TempSpike here from thermopro. If you don't have one of these, I highly recommend it. They're not paying me to use this thing. They don't need to. I will gladly use it just because I care about how this turns out. You are too. You got a little line there. I'm going to make sure we put it in that section. And how I'm going to roll with this is I'm going to start out back here in this ham area. And I'm going to try to miss the bone. Yeah, there we go. Just like that. So I'm into my mark. down deep into the thickest part of the tissue. And then this end is going to pick up the ambient temperature inside the pit, and it's going to give me feedback real time, right on the spot through the app. It's going to tell me what the pit's doing. It's got alarm set on there, so if for some reason I fall asleep a little too long and my fire starts to go down, I have alarm set to where if the fire gets below 200 degrees, the pit does, it'll set an alarm off and wake me up or notify me if I'm busy doing something. So very, very important little tool here. I highly recommend this, guys. It's the best investment. If you're going to spend the money on a chunk of meat like this, you know, $50, $100 for one of these, it's worth its weight in gold. From me to you. All right, guys, the anticipation is over. We are getting ready to probe this. This has been on 15 hours, and I think she's ready. She's real close anyways. I know this front shoulder area, 193, right there in the thickest part, 196. The ham, on the other hand, is a little lagging behind. We're about, yeah, you can see there, 179. I don't know if you guys can see that, but we're gonna let this cruise for a little bit more, but we're 15 hours into this cook. It's starting to rain. I better get my beer. So we're gonna probably end the video here because we're getting close to party time. We have a lot to do. I still have barbecue sauces to make for our guests to enjoy on this pork. So we will recap this cook back in the test kitchen, and we will give you our full detailed blueprint on this cook and give you our true, honest opinion on how it went, and maybe where maybe I can share a little bit of details about some of the little snafus we had, because we did have a couple little hiccups during this cook. And you know, as much as I'd like to say it was perfect, barbecuing is never perfect. But all right, guys, so we're back in the test kitchen. I wanted to recap this cook because things got a little crazy during the tail end of the hog roast. So here we are. We had a lot of leftovers from this pig. You know, this was a 260 some pound pig, and you know, we had half that on the smoker, and we fed roughly about 30 adults and 30 plus children out of this. So we definitely had a lot of leftovers. We've been enjoying it, making some pulled pork nachos tonight with it. It's going to be delicious. Overall, really good. One thing I wanted to touch base on is my thermopro here. And actually, this thing failed me an hour into the cook. After I got done bragging it up right before we put the hog on, this thing actually failed. The temperature probe did. So I don't know what's going on with this. I've done some reading. You know, thermopro is supposed to be a really good company, so I'm hoping they stand behind it because we did spend a decent amount of money on this. The booster's holding charge. However, this is not registering. I've tried to repair it. Battery was dead on it after I charged it. You know, it was ready to go, right? Full charge, and I put it in the pig. Hour later, boom, dead batteries. So I am a little discouraged about that. With a big cook like this, I was really hoping that this was going to, you know, come in clutch for me. However, they do make an awesome pin that you can probe with too. It's just not a permanent fixture in the pig. So we were just spot checking it every half hour towards the tail end of the cook. We did take this this half hog to 197 in the front shoulder and 190 in the ham in the rear quarter of it, and everything turned out really well. Everything turned out well with the pig. However, 15 minutes before the party, I purchased a couple meat cleavers, and I literally sliced about half my finger off right alongside there, and I had these really handy little zip stitches that got me going. You know, I was taking a cleaver out of the package, and I just had an accident. That's really what it boiled down to. So you guys got to be really careful out there when you're handling the cutting utensils. So definitely make sure you're using your noggin for that. But overall, I feel like it was a big success. Everyone here enjoyed definitely eating the pig, kind of being a part of the experience, seeing it. I will talk about a couple downfalls there was to it. A couple things I do differently next time. Next time, I might try to go skin off unless I buy a smaller pig and I spatchcock it. Reason being is I noticed I didn't have near as much bark on this barbecue. So there was definitely some pieces that had some bark on it, but when the skin was left on, it definitely helped keep the moisture in this pig, I believe, in the meat itself, but it lacked the bark. Hickory wood and apple were phenomenal though. I mean, the smoke penetrated this pig very well. You know, all the leftovers we've reheated, I've been really happy with. We get that nice, robust, smoky flavor, not overpowering, just perfect really. This pig went 17.5 hours for this half hog. So we went pretty low and slow. You know, we were balancing between 200 and 230 degrees, but I honestly wouldn't change it. I've heard people say, yeah, I've done a whole pig in 7 hours. That's great, but we had really good luck doing it really low and slow, and it kind of made for a good story, you know, and it was enjoyable just hanging out by the barbecuer, being in my element and waiting to feed the people. So overall, I would say it was a fun first experience with a couple little hiccups, being the finger and the temperature probe. Had a chance to drink some really good beers. I really like these hazy IPAs, different types and styles. So always get to experiment with some of those while we're cooking. So it's always a good time and definitely delicious. So yeah, I encourage you guys to go out and try to do a whole hog, whether it's a whole one or half one like we did. Definitely an experiment and definitely something that everyone should try to do. And we're gonna have some cool content coming to you. We're gonna be doing some beef short ribs coming up in our next content. So, and hot wings have been a popular one. So we're gonna come back with another hot wing video. We're just gonna do these a little bit differently. So you guys stay tuned to the channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Until next time, guys, we'll see you at the pit.